Hey guys, Carl from Purple Misplaced. Today I'm going to be taking a preview look at a prototype copy of the 1 to 2 player game Converge from designer Peter C. Hayward and publisher Button Shy Games, coming very soon to crowdfunding. This is a kind of tableau builder, card battler kind of game in which you're playing cards into your own tableau, but also playing cards into a central goal sort of scoring area, setting the goals that you are then scoring against with your own cards in your tableau. Playing against the AI, ultimately trying to prevent the AI from scoring at all, and then by the end of the game, scoring over a certain score threshold. Disclaimer, as you'd expect from a preview of this game, I was given early access to this game from the publisher, but as always, I will do my best to give you my own honest opinion at the end of this video. But with all that said, let's head down to the table to see how the solo mode of this one plays, and then I'll meet you back up here to let you know what I think. All right, before I begin, I just want to point out here that as always with my sort of previews of Button Shy Games, all of the components or all of the cards that you'll see in this video are a print and play copy of the game that I myself have made, which means that all of the cards are simply photocopy paper, two pieces with a sort of core of a playing card in between in a sleeve. And what that means also is I apologize for any glare that you get during game play. Also, I want to mention here that I am going to be playing through the game twice. The first time I'm going to be playing through using the 3 skill sets or 3 groups of cards in the first set, the Catalysts of Change set. And then in the second playthrough, I do a random mixing of some groups or some skill sets from the second and third sets combined into one play. So with that said, let's go ahead and get into setup. To set up a solo game of Converge, again, first we're going to choose 3 groups or 3 skill sets to play with. As I am playing with that first set, we are going to be playing with the Alchemists, the Archivists, and the Mechanists. We're going to mix the 6 cards of each of those 1 through 6 into a deck of 18 cards, giving those a good shuffle. And then placing the very top card as what is called the artifact into my hand. I'm just going to set this down off into the bottom corner of the screen. This is the sort of glariest area on the screen. I apologize, but this is not going to be all that important. It's just a card that I need to hold on to in order to win the game. And then we're going to draw the next top 3 cards for my starting hand, and I'll set those down here, but I'll pick them up and show them off and explain things as I get into gameplay. And then finally, to finish setting up these decks, we need to set up the AI's faction row up here. So I'm going to go ahead and deal out 5 cards face down into a row up here, which will be the AI's faction row. Like that. And then we're going to take the remaining deck of cards, just setting these off over here and turning over the first card to start our discard pile, because some effects will play off of the discard pile. In addition, for this solo mode, there is a special set of 6 solo mode cards, and these are all double-sided. One side of the card is an ability that looks like this, and the other side of the card is some kind of scoring goal with a number of points that you can score off of that goal. So to finish setup for the solo game, I'm going to shuffle those up, and we'll place out 3 of those on their ability side like this. And then the other 3 will be sort of associated with them or paired with them on their point side, like that. And with that, we're all set up for a solo game of Converge. The solo game of Converge is going to play out over a series of 5 rounds. And in each of these rounds, we're going to go through a sort of set of phases or turns. But the end goal is that at the end of 5 rounds, I need to have reached a certain sort of goal scoring point, and I also need to have this artifact in my possession. If the AI has that artifact in their possession and scores points, they will instead win the game. In addition, and I'll show you how this works as we get into gameplay, but at the end of any round, if I have the artifact and the AI scores any points at all, they will take the artifact. And then on a following turn or a future turn, if they've already gotten the artifact in their possession, and again they score any points at all, they will instantly win the game and the game ends. So I need to survive to the end of 5 rounds, and I need to make sure that at the end of the 5th round, I have the artifact in my possession, and I need to have scored a certain number of points to beat the goal threshold. Now, The number of points that you need to win is dependent on the different groups or different skill sets of cards that you are playing with in a given game. So again, we're playing with the Archivists, the Mechanists, and the Alchemists. So the Archivists have a goal of 5 points, the Mechanists have a goal of 3 points, and the Alchemists have a goal of 4 points. So 5 and 4 is 9 and 3 is 12. So I need to score at least 12 points and have this artifact in my possession at the end of the game in order to win. So on each of these rounds, we're going to begin the round by turning over the first card in the AI's faction row. Now you'll see that there's quite a bit of space on the screen right here. That's because in the center here, we're going to sort of have a goal card row. And then down here at the bottom of the screen will be my faction row that I'm going to be playing cards into. And generally in a multiplayer game, one player has their row, their faction row here, the other player has their faction row here, and you're both scoring off of the goal cards in the center. But in the solo mode, the AI's faction row is also counted as a goal row. So all of the goals are active in both the AI's faction row and in the center row. And I'll explain what that means in just a second as I explain how the game plays out. But the first thing we want to do is take a look at this card. And the AI just turned over this card. So they have an Alchemist with a 4 value. And this goal is now active because it's in the AI's faction. And it says that they have to have the most cards with the same rank. Well, right now they only have 1 card, so that's just 1. You'll also see at the bottom of each of these cards there is some kind of ability, but let me explain what that means in just a second when I get into my turn. So right now the AI has a 4 Alchemist, and the goal at most cards with the same rank is now active because that's there. If that had been in the center area, that card wouldn't count for the AI, but the goal would still be active for both of us. So after we've turned over the first card or the next card in the AI's row, it is then my turn to take 2 actions. And there are 3 different kinds of actions you can take in this game. I can play a card into the goal row to set a new goal that we're scoring on. I can play a card into my faction row to add a card to my hand that is scoring based off the goals that we see on the table already. Or I can play a card for the ability at the bottom, activating that ability, and then discarding that card from my hand. So let me show you 3 of these cards and show you what I mean by that, because actually these 3 cards are the 3 different skill sets. So I can show you all of the different abilities as well. So here we've got a Mechanist number 4 that if I played as a goal would score 1 point for whoever has the most cards with a rank of 4. And the Mechanist ability says move the top discarded card to the goals. So in this case, I could discard this card to take this card from the discard pile and add it to the goal row. But it's worth mentioning here in the AI game or the solo game that anytime a card says goals, I can play into the goal row or into the AI's faction row. And I also did just realize I made a small mistake. When I said one of my actions is to play a card into my faction, I can actually play a card into either faction if I want to sort of ruin a scoring goal based on a card that I'm adding to the AI's faction row as well. But in this case, whenever we see a card that says goal, because the AI's faction row counts as goals in the solo mode, that is also considered the goal row. So any card that interacts with a faction can be my faction or their faction, and any card that interacts with a goal can be this row or the AI's faction row. So again, the Mechanists have the ability to take a card or the top card from the discard pile and add it to the goals. Next, I've got a 6 Alchemist with the scoring ability that you get 1 point for the highest Alchemist, which this one currently would be. 6 is always the highest number, 1 is the lowest number of every rank, and there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 for each of those skill sets. And I should mention, when I say rank, rank is the number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of the card. And skill set are these alchemists or archivists or mechanists and so on. So the alchemists have the ability that they can burn a card. So basically I'm just discarding 1 card from either faction out of the game. So if I want to remove something from the AI's hand so that they're not scoring on it, I can easily do that with an alchemist. And then finally, number 5, Archivist is here. They score for 1 point most consecutive ranks. So if I've got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that would be 5 consecutive ranks. And the archivists have the ability called Educate, which allows me to move one goal card to either faction. Now remember, a goal card in a solo mode could be this row or the goal row, so I could move a card from here into my faction using that archivist's power. So let me go ahead and place those down for a second and see what I want to do. AI is going to win most cards with the same rank. Well, right now they only have one card, so that doesn't bother me at all. I also score off of that, so as soon as I play one card, I will also have one card of the same rank. So the AI is not going to be scoring this turn. Because it's worth mentioning at the end of each of these rounds, we're going to check scoring. And if the AI has any points at all, they're going to take the artifact away from me. And again, if they already have the artifact on that turn and they score any points at all, the game instantly ends in a loss and the AI wins the game. So I need to do everything I can to prevent them from scoring any points and also to sort of maximize the number of points that I'm scoring. Now in the solo game, we also have these 3 scoring cards that are giving me alternate ways to score points, and these are going to be really important if I want to get to that 12-point threshold. So here I can score 1 point if I have 5 cards with different ranks or different numbers in my faction area. And as soon as I trigger this, I'd get that point, removing this from the game. And in addition, when I score that point total, I will also get access to whatever that ability card is as a one-use sort of ability that I can use later. It's also worth mentioning that instead of taking a normal action, I can always discard a card from my hand to use one of these abilities from the tableau. But if I do that, I also lose the ability to score whatever that scoring bonus is, and that's going to be really, really bad for me. So unless I really need to do that, I should avoid doing that. So again, I can score 1 point if I have 5 different numbers in my faction row. Here I can score 3 points if I have 2 of each skill set. And again, skill sets are the different types of cards or groups of cards. So if I have 2 alchemists, 2 mechanists, and 2 archivists, then I will be able to claim this and its ability card and score 3 points. And then finally here, I need to have more of each skill set than my opponent. So right now they have 1 alchemist. So if I had 1 mechanist, 1 archivist, and 2 alchemists, I would have more than them. I could claim these 3 points and the ability card that goes with this one. So let me put those back down. And then let me go ahead and pick up the 3 ability cards so I can show you what those cards are able to do. So here we've got move up to 2 cards in play to the central goal row. So that lets me move things around from faction rows. This one here says take the artifact and discard any card from play. So that will save me if the AI manages to take the artifact from me. And then this card here, move any card in play to my hand, which could be great because that's a good way to strip something from the AI and then also give myself the ability to use it later. But again, those won't come into play until much later because these goals are going to take some effort to get to. All right, sorry for the odd wipe. I flubbed something mid-play and I just wanted to start fresh from the beginning so you get a good idea exactly how the game plays. So looking back at what we've got now on the screen, remembering the AI has a 4 alchemist, but scoring 1 point for the most cards with the same rank. But they only have 1 card, so we will either tie them or have more if we play 2 cards this turn into our faction row. So I'm not worried about doing anything with that. So I need to focus on sort of the main overarching goals and then potentially putting in new goals for me to score as well. Remembering that I need to try and focus on 5 different cards or 5 cards with different numbers in my faction row, 2 of each of the different kinds of cards, and then more of each kind than my opponent. Remembering now they have 1 alchemist, so I need 2 alchemists, 1 mechanist, and 1 archivist in the current situation to get that. But I think looking at what we're playing with right now, what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to play this 6 1-point highest alchemist as a goal highest alchemist. And then because the faction row of the AI in the solo mode counts as the goal row as well, I'm going to use the archivist for its educate ability, which lets me move 1 goal card to either faction. So I'm going to take that goal into my faction because now that 4 alchemist is the highest alchemist and I'm scoring off of that. And that is the end of the first round. I draw 2 cards up to finish the round, and then we check scoring again. The AI has no cards, so they can't possibly score. Highest Alchemist is my 4, so currently I have 1 point. Moving to the next round. Actually, before we do that, let me show you the 2 cards I just drew. Here's a 3 Archivist, gets me 2 points for 3 cards with consecutive ranks. And here's a 2 Archivist that gets me 1 point for the most Archivists. I'm turning over their first card here. They have a 6 Archivist that scores for the highest Archivist, which means currently they are scoring this card because it is, by nature, the 6 is the highest Archivist. So I have to find a way to get rid of that, which means I can use one of these cards to move that into my faction hand. And doing that, yeah, let's do that. I'll play this as a goal for the most Archivists. And I'll use, oops, that should be a discard now, using this one to move that into my faction. And that goes to discard as well. Drawing back up to 3 cards. I've got the 3 Alchemist that will score 2 points if I have 3 cards with even ranks. Right now I have a 4 and a 6, so that's looking good to me. And here, a 2 Mechanist that scores 1 point for the most Mechanists. Those look like they're going to combo very well together. Let's see how the AI does. 1 Archivist, again, scoring for the lowest Archivists. That's a problem, because I really want to score that one. But using this, I could bring that back as a goal. Yeah, all right, so I'm going to use this Alchemist for the burn ability to burn that card out of the game like that. And then I'm playing the 2 Mechanist because now I have 1 of each type and the AI has none. So I do have more of each skill set than they do. So I'm scoring 3 points. And I get access to this ability that will allow me to move any card in play into my hand, which right now I don't need it, but could be nice because it means I could pull something from my hand and play it as a goal later to score more points. Checking here, highest Alchemist is me because there aren't any over there. Most Activists is me, or Archivists is me because there aren't any over there again. I draw 2 more cards. Number 1, Mechanist, the lowest Mechanist scoring. And the number 2, Alchemist that scores 1 point for the most Alchemists. And then looking at the AI's next card, they've got a 5 Mechanist, which is scoring for the highest sum of ranks. Well, right now they've got a 5 and I've got 12. I'm definitely winning that. Let's slide those over just to give them a bit more space. Doesn't worry me because I am scoring there. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 out of 12 points that I need to get. I need 2 of each skill set to get this one. So I need to focus on putting some cards in my hand. 2, 4, 6. I need 5 cards with different numbers, so that 4 is not great. I'm going to put this 1 into my hand. Yes. And I'm going to play this Mechanist for a salvage ability, moving this one into the goal area, because 3 cards with even ranks, 2, 4, 6, does score me those 2 points. That gets discarded. 2 cards for me. This will be our last round. I've got the 3 Mechanist, which scores me 2 points for 3 cards with odd ranks, which I'm not doing right now. And the 6 Mechanist, which scores me 1 point for the highest Mechanist. Now, focusing here, because I do need to put that into my hand or we're in trouble, because I need that for these 3 points. But let's watch what happens. Ooh, that's a problem too. Okay. Number 1 says 1 point for the lowest Alchemist. If they're scoring that, which is automatic, I'm in trouble. So that has to go away. I need to get this into my hand. Aha. Okay. Let's do this. I'm going to play. Damn it. I've got 2 Mechanists, an Archivist, and an Alchemist, but that's a 2. Discard any card from play. Move up to 2 cards, 2 of each. 2 cards in play to the central goal row. Ah, okay. Yeah, but that's a 2 as well. Move the top card to the goals. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I need 2 more points. 3 cards with odd ranks. No. Highest Mechanist, most Alchemists. 1, 2, 4, 6. I can't possibly get this thing. The only way I can get 2 of each skill set is if I put this Archivist here. And then that gets me 5 cards. Then I could take that from them, playing that there. All right. Let's see what we can do. If I screw this up, I'm sorry. I'm going to move any card in play to my hand using that ability that I got. And I'll just set that over here to show you that I used it. Let's keep those points on the table. I am taking then this 3 red. No, this 2 brown. No, because then I don't score that. Hold on a minute. This 2 brown goes there. Never mind. Hold on. Let me undo that. I need to score points without taking those away. 1, 2, 4, 6. I can play that 3 to take this. That gets me 1 more thing. All right, but let's see what we can do. There's not a whole lot of options now. All right, then. Move up to 2 cards in play. Okay, so we have to play that 3 to here. 3 cards with odd ranks. 1, 1. Yeah, I don't have another one. Okay, 3 there. Now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. That's 5 cards with different ranks. I get that point. And I get this card, which says move 2 cards in play to the central goal row. So I'm going to play that instantly to move both of those to the central goal row. And I still have 1 action left. And basically it's just going to be to play something into the center. And in either case, highest Mechanist or most Alchemists, I win because they have nothing. So I'm just going to play one of those. And that's it. Unfortunately, let's see how we did. Highest Alchemist, yes, because they don't have any, and I do. Most Archivists, they don't have any, I do. 3 cards with even ranks, 2, 4, 6. Highest sum of ranks, automatic, because they don't have anything. Lowest Alchemist, automatic, because I have one and they have nothing. Highest Mechanist, they have nothing, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 8, 9, 10, 11. I'm 1 point short, unfortunately. Not getting this really hurt me. So even though the AI didn't score anything or doesn't even have any cards left, unfortunately, I don't win the game. There may have been another way to do that, but not that I saw. Wait a minute. Let me try this. This is reversing time a minute, but when I moved up to 2 cards in the goal row, I moved their 2 cards. I can still do that. Instead of moving their cards, move my cards. It doesn't matter which one. So let's just put this, yes it does, this 1 right there instead. Because now, highest Alchemist, yes. Most Archivists, yes. Cards with even ranks, 2, 4, 6, yes. Lowest Mechanists, yes, 2. Lowest Alchemists, yes, because they don't have any. Highest Mechanist, no. But I can do that instead. All right, so that was reversing my turn a little bit, but now most Alchemists, yes. So now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This still scores. Highest sum of ranks is easily me over that 5. So that's 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I did win the game just with that retcon, but it's a legal retcon. I didn't change anything. I just stepped back 2 steps and made a smarter decision. So that's the end of the first game. I am going to play through one more time with 3 more sets of cards. I did randomly choose sets from set 2 and set 3, and I'm going to be playing with 2 factions from set 2 and 1 faction from set 3. So let me clear this, show you those factions, set everything back up, and I will play through. I do want to mention for the solo stuff, because you've seen now these 3 points and these 3 solo goals, I'm going to flip these 3 over to point side, flip these 3 over to ability side, randomize the order of them. That way you've seen all 6 of the solo cards. Let me go ahead and do all of that, and I will be right back. All right, so here we are all set up again for another playthrough. I'm going to be using the Astropaths, the Protectors, and the Merchants, which should come out soonish, I hope. And I will explain them as we get into them. The Protectors group comes from the 2nd set. Both the Astropaths and the Merchants come from the 3rd set. Looking at the scoring goals for these 3 sets, the Protectors are 5 points, the Astropaths are 4 points, and the Merchants are 3. So 5 and 4 is 9, and 3 is 12. Again, just like our first setup. Just so you know, the smallest goal you could have would be a 2-point, 3-point, and 4-point faction, getting a total of 9. But again, we are at 12 again. Let me show you what we've got so far. The Astropaths have the ability called Study that lets you use the discard effect of a goal or faction card that's already in play. The Protectors have the Lead ability, which lets you move 1 card from either faction to the goals. And the Merchants I will show you as they come out because I don't want to unrandomize anything. But let's take a look at the 3 scoring goals and the 3 solo abilities that we have for this playthrough. The first one is a 3-point goal, have 4 cards of 1 skill set. So I really got to go hard on a single skill set. Next, have every rank that isn't in my opponent's faction for 2 points. And again, rank means number, so I got to vary numbers that aren't theirs. And finally, 2 points if I have 3 more cards in my faction than my opponent. So I need to have lots of cards, and they need to have few cards. Then the 3 abilities here, move any card in play to a faction. This one lets me take the artifact and then swap any card in play with the artifact. And then finally here, take the artifact and swap any card in play with the top card of the deck. So these are both kind of random because I don't know what the artifact is and I don't know what the top card of the deck is at any point. But that's that. So let's go ahead and get into play first round and we get lucky. It's a merchant. So now I can show you the merchant's ability is the trade action. I can swap any 2 faction cards. That's pretty cool. I can give them something and take something from them. But right now this is the AI's card. The 6 merchants, they're scoring a point for the highest merchant, which means they are scoring. I got to get rid of that. I've got a 2 Astropath, which scores me 1 point for most Astropaths, a 1 Astropath that scores for the lowest, and a 5 that scores for the highest number of different ranks in a faction. But I got to get rid of that. Swap any 2 faction cards. These, again, let me use any card that's already out there, or move a card from a faction to the goal. I can move that there, or I can take it, highest number of different ranks. I'm okay with that. All right, so I'm going to play this one out to my faction. And then I'm going to play the 1 Astropath to swap, because I'm using the discard of a goal or a faction card. This is trading, so we're going to swap this one and this one like that. Then I draw back up 2 cards. 2 merchants, most merchants scoring. And the 3 of Astropaths, 2 points for 3 cards of different skill sets. All right. What do they got? 4, Astropath. Most card pairs of matching rank. 5 and 4 don't match, but now we got a 4, 5, 6. So if I get 1, 2, 3, we have every rank that isn't my opponent's, and I've got lots of 2s and 3s. Matching would be nice, but right now I don't care. If I can get lots of this color, I can get that one too. So I'm definitely playing this 2 here. I'd like to hold on to the cards of different skill sets because that's worth a lot. But I don't care right now. Most Astropaths doesn't help. Yeah, I'm going to take this 3 because if they turn over a 1, then I have 2, 3, 6, and they have 1, 4, 5. I will score that. So we're going to stop there. We may move some stuff into goals later because we can do that with the Protector class. Drawing 2 more cards into my hand. I've got the 4 merchants, which scores points. 1 point for cards ranked 3 and 4. 3 cards ranked 3 and 4. And the Protector 6 gets me a score for the highest Protector. And let's hope this is a 1. It's not. That's a double point, so we are swapping it here. And oh, I got lucky. There's my 1. All right. So right away, 2, 3, 6, 1, 4, 5. I have every rank that isn't there, so I get that score. Which means I also have the ability to swap any card in play with the artifact. They are scoring off of this with the lowest merchant, so I gotta get rid of that. I'm gonna use this Astropath to use that to swap something. Yes, swapping those 2. Hold on, no. Yeah, because I need 4 merchants to get that. Like that. And, highest number of different ranks. I have 3, they have 3, so that doesn't change anything, but I'm going to play a Protector. I need to get cards out of them. Move 1 card from either faction to the goals. So my second card is that. I'm moving this into goals. Because I need to get them down to less cards so I can win that way. Drawing 2 more cards. I've got a 3 Protector and a 4 Protector. 4 scores most cards ranked 1 to 4. And 3 scores 2 points for 3 cards with odd ranks. I only have 1 though. Okay. I'm turning over their card. The Protector again. A 1 has the lowest Protector. I need to get that out of them. Oh, I still have a merchant here. Okay. Then I'm going to use one of these Protectors. 3 cards with odd ranks. I don't have that ability. Most cards ranked 1 to 4. I have 2, they have 3, but we're going to change that up a bit. All right, so Protectors. I'm using that 3 Protector to move this as a goal. And then I'm playing that 4 there, which now I have 4 cards of that skill set, which gets me these 3 points and allows me to move any card in play to a faction, which is cool. Sliding that. This is our last round. I've got a 3 merchants, which gets me 2 points for 3 cards ranked 1 to 2. Ooh, that's interesting. And 5 says highest sum of ranks in 1 faction. Flipping over theirs. Actually, we should be going through. Let me just double check. Most card pairs, they have none. They're not scoring. 3 cards of different skill sets. They don't have any. Highest number of different ranks. They have 2. I have 4. Lowest protector is nothing. All right, so now they get that card, 5 merchant, 3 cards rank 5 to 6. They don't have it. Now I need to focus on scoring. Right now I have 5 points. I can get 6, 7. I gotta find 5 other points in there. Move any card in play to any faction. Yeah, I need to figure out a way to turn, but that doesn't change anything. 1 to 2. 3 cards ranked 1 to 2. Okay, so I'm gonna move any card in play to a faction. No, hold on. I have 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that's fine. I'm gonna play that. Move any card in play to a faction, moving this protector into my hand. Now, my actions. I'm playing this card here. 3 cards ranked 1 to 2, 1, 2, 3. I have those. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cards. So if I play one more card into my hand, which is what? 5 to 6, 3 cards. There's only 2 out, so that's not going to happen. 3 cards of different skill sets. Protector, Merchant, Astropaths. Let me play that. Because now I have 6 cards, which means I do have 3 more than they do. So I get those points. I also get that ability, but I don't think I'm going to use it right now. I think that's it. Swap any card in play with the artifact. Swap any card in play with the top card of the deck. Well, there is no deck. So I can take a gamble. 5 to 6. Do I need this 4 for anything? No. All right, I'm going to do that and swap that with the artifact. Nope, that's not higher than a 6, so that's fine. Now we score. Most card pairs of matching rank. I have 1 pair. So that's a point. 3 cards of different skill sets. I've got Merchant, Protector, and Astropath. That's 2 points. That gives me 3. 3 cards rank 5 to 6. I only have 2 of them. I don't score that. Highest number of different ranks. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. They've got 3. I get that point for 4. 2 points for 3 cards ranked 1 to 2. 1, 2, 1, yes. It's another 2 points is 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 points, and I have successfully beaten the game for my second play as well. While we're here, I usually take a look at the components. I don't have the components. Well, I mean, these are the components. You've seen them. The artwork in this game. Let me just show you quickly while I'm here. I am really, really, really enamored, in love with the art in this game. The different colors pop. The different symbols for each faction pop. The art design for the characters in this game is great. The sort of diversity in the different kinds of characters in the game is great. Just the design of this sort of artifact symbol on the back, wonderful. The artwork in this game really, really, really does shine through. I know that they're not quite done with these cards. So these places where it says title, each of these scoring goals will have a name. And I wouldn't be surprised if these different abilities have a name or something associated with them as well. Again, this is a prototype, so everything is sort of subject to change just a little bit. But visually, the way this game looks on the table is wonderful. I'm going to throw a wallet picture up in the corner right now for you to see. But as I'm recording this, I haven't seen the wallet yet, so I can't comment on it. I just want to put it there so that you can see what it looks like while I'm here. And then real quickly, before I go, I just want to show you the 3 factions that you haven't seen played in this video. 2 from the second set. Now, one of these is, again, prototype. It's changing. So what it says is slightly different. But here we've got the Delvers, which let you swap 1 card in play with another card in your hand. the healers, which allow you to move the top discarded card into a faction. Those are the two from the second set that you didn't see yet. And then the final faction from the third set you haven't seen yet are these searchers. And the searchers are pretty cool. This is fairly unique. Again, this is not really what it's going to do, so don't pay attention to that. What the searcher does is this actually gets played to the bottom of the deck, and then you draw the top card of the deck to replace it. So you're kind of digging through the deck looking or searching for a specific card. So that's basically all there is to say about the components. Meet me back up top and I'll let you know what I think about the game itself. Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed the playthroughs. This one's going to be an interesting one to talk about because, as I mentioned up top, this is basically a card battle or head-to-head kind of game, but here I am playing this game solo, which means, as you've seen in my playthrough, or if you skip through, I'll tell you right now, this is the kind of game that's going to require an AI to play against because you can't really beat your own score when you're not playing against somebody else in a sort of battle-style game. So it was very important in this game that the AI works and that it sort of gives you a similar feeling to the base game that you would get in the multiplayer game. Now, I haven't played the multiplayer game, so I can't really comment on that. And before I comment specifically on how the AI plays, let me talk more about the core mechanisms of this game, because now that I've played this quite a few times, I'm really enjoying what's being presented here. I'm going to start off with a sort of comparison to another game because it might make it easy for some of you to sort of understand the feeling you get from this game based on this comparison, and that is this game feels to me like Battle Red 7. If you've ever played Red 7 before, sort of on your turn, you're playing a card into your tableau and then you're playing a card that's a goal that you have to aim for, and basically you're trying that you have to, in order to stay in the game, make sure that the goal that shows makes you the winner for that round or you're out of the game. And this is a sort of similar concept here because the point of this game, or the mechanism, the core mechanism of this game, is that you've got a hand of cards that you're either basically playing into a goal area that's setting the scoring goals for that play, or into your own tableau, hopefully scoring points off of that goal area. Now, in the original multiplayer version of this game, you're basically playing best 2 out of 3 against the opponent, and the way that you're doing it is you're playing each round with that artifact in your hand, and if you have the artifact and you have more points at the end of any given turn, you are the winner for that sort of 1 of 3 games. And if you win twice out of 3, then you're the winner of that play, basically. So you're trying real hard to keep a hold on to that artifact while scoring more points than your opponent. But again, if you score more points than your opponent when you don't have the artifact, you're going to pull it towards you. So basically, you have to win 2 turns in a row to win for that round. And then again, it's best 2 out of 3. Now, because the AI is not really playing smart, it's not pulling back and forth on that artifact so much, but it is there. And I'll talk about that in just a minute. I want to stick with this core mechanism for a minute because that I just explained really does feel sort of like the main heart of Red 7, except now that it's a battle. But there's an addition here. And the addition here is that this game comes in different sets or different sort of wallets. And in each wallet, there's 3 different groups of characters or types of character. And in each gameplay, you're going to be playing with 3 of those sets. So in the first wallet, you've got 3 sets. In the second wallet, you've got 3 sets. In the third wallet, you've got 3 sets. And you can mix and match any of those sets. And that's the first sort of twist that's going to make this quite a bit different on top of the addition of the sort of head-to-head battle piece here. Because each of those different sets of cards is going to have different kinds of goals that it scores on. Now, it does seem that every group does have the 1 card scores for the lowest of that type and the 6 card scores for the highest of that type. But some of them are scoring for runs. Some of them are scoring for odds, for evens, for pairs, for all different kinds of having most of that same color. There's a bunch of different scoring goals, and they're all going to come out at different times in different orders every time you play this game. And just having that enough mixes things up to the point where it's fun and it's unique and it's interesting every time you play. But more importantly, more interestingly, each of those different sets of 6 cards in these wallets is each coming with a special ability. And that's the next big step that does twist this thing even further. And that is, if I play a card as a discard, not into my tableau, not into the goal scoring area, but just discard the card, I then activate the ability on that card. And that's going to let me sort of manipulate things from one space to another space, take things back into my hand to play differently later on, to pull things out of the discard pile, and so on. And this is going to be important both in the solo and the multiplayer game because you may end up taking cards away from your opponent. That means they're not scoring anymore, but also that means that you have that card to do something with later. You can pull things out of the discard pile that maybe your opponent has attacked you and gotten rid of, or that your opponent themselves has thrown away. So adding this extra ability to sort of manipulate the cards, not simply by playing them out, but also by moving them around in different unique ways. And each of these different sets has different ways that it interacts with these cards, which means that every time you play with a different set of cards, the way that things are going to play out really does change up. Honestly, even with the same 3 sets of cards, because of the different abilities on these cards and the order that the cards are going to come out, means the scoring goals are going to come out at different times. You might have cards in your tableau that then are not goals, or vice versa. You may have cards in your goal pile that are not then in your tableau. You may have cards that you've discarded in a certain game to use their ability and therefore aren't in the tableau or the scoring area. So every time you play, it does feel quite a bit different, even with such a small number of cards in the game. And it really, really does feel fresh. And this constant pull of switching goals to match your cards and then playing cards to match the goals, but then having those goals switch or having it's a really cool, constantly running puzzle that goes through your brain. And I really, really enjoy it. Now, in the solo mode, you're playing against the AI. And again, the AI is not ever going to compete against you like a player would in a 2-player game, because also the AI is never actually doing anything. They're simply revealing the next card that they have in their own tableau. And what that means is they're either going to be scoring something or not scoring something already based on what the sort of situation is on the table. But it's really cool because what that means is that when the AI flips over a card, they may be winning right away. And in the solo mode, as you saw, if the AI wins 2 rounds in a row, means they win once to get the artifact and then they win again, they instantly win the game and that's it. So if they have a card that's causing them to win, you have to do everything in your power to stop that from happening. And that might be by changing a goal. That might be by pulling that card out of their tableau. That might be by boosting something in your tableau so now you have more of whatever it is than they do. And it really is a constant sort of struggle and puzzle. How do I manipulate the things to do everything I need and nothing the AI needs based on what I have in my hand? And this is where these different sets of cards really become interesting to me, because if I have a certain card, maybe I can discard one of their cards from the game. But if I'm not playing with that set of cards, well, then I don't have that power. Then I have to find a way to move a card to a different spot, or I have to find a way to sort of replace something with something else. And then in the solo mode, you also have those special solo abilities, but you only have access to those solo abilities normally if you've achieved the scoring goal that they're associated with. And those goals tend to happen later on in gameplay. So earlier, if something big happens and you don't have the card to play the ability to get rid of that thing, you really got to start rushing frantically to figure out the best way to sort of hold the AI off for a little bit until you can get some other stuff done to get these abilities to then make the changes that need to happen to get things back onto your side of the game. And that's really, really interesting because they, again, need to win twice in a row to win the game. So the first time they'll take the artifact. So it might be okay to sort of say, okay, you've got this one, but I'm planning for the next turn where I'm going to do all of this stuff, take it back from you, then I get the artifact back from you. And the next turn, then I can start working again to build up my stuff and not have to deal with that problem that's existing in the AI because they're already scoring points off something. Because again, in the solo mode, the AI is not allowed to score anything at all. If they score even a single point, they take that artifact from you. And if they score even a single point 2 rounds in a row, game over. So it's this constant sort of manipulation of the tableau, of the scoring, using abilities to get rid of the AI's winning or scoring cards in unique, different ways every time you played based on the different sets, the different abilities that are available to you. And then you've always got the Hail Mary of those solo abilities that do tend to be slightly stronger abilities, or at least do tend to be abilities that help you interact with the AI's cards easier, you can always discard one card to use that ability even when it's not your turn, or even, when you haven't achieved those scoring goals that are required to give you that free solo ability card. So you've always got this sort of Hail Mary, except when you use the Hail Mary, that means you've got one less action to do whatever else it was that you wanted to do on that turn. And when you discard that card that way, you also discard that scoring points that way. And in the solo mode, every single point really means something, especially when you're playing with the different sets that need 4 or 5 points each to win the game, right? If you have to get 12 points at the end of the game and you don't get some of those 3-pointer solo goals, good luck getting individual points on all of the scoring goals in-game to ever get that high in scoring. It's just a whole lot of fun. It's a really interesting, unique puzzle that's got you constantly thinking on your feet to just push and survive and push and survive. And then towards the end of the game, how do I make use of all of these abilities to move things around to give myself the most points possible in that tableau? You saw it in my first playthrough. I sort of backtracked 2 steps and rearranged things again, and I managed to pull off a win based on the slightly different organization of the cards that I had in the tableau. Just having a whole lot of fun with this game. And the amount of variability here with 3 sets of 3 means you've got 9 different sets, you're playing with 3. I don't know the math here, but I think they said something like 85, 86 different combinations just with these 3 sets alone. And I imagine if this does well, we'll definitely see some more of these sets come out to mix in as well. Maybe new abilities, maybe some new mechanisms thrown in there as well. I'm really, really, really enjoying this one. I do want to say, I haven't lost a game yet. I've gotten a lot of really, really close calls. But I don't want to say it's easy, because I think that I'm manipulating things and I'm getting lucky sometimes. There could be situations where the cards come out and you really, really have to struggle to get through to the end. And even so, even if it is easier than harder, I don't care here, because this puzzle is just a fun sort of churn and chug through my brain, trying my best to most efficiently manage the sort of bad stuff that's coming out from the AI that I have to get rid of, and then finding interesting and clever ways to pile up points so that I can get to that score threshold at the end of the game. I'm really enjoying this one. I can't wait to get it back to the table, because I still have only played with the 3 base sets as is, and then sort of 2 or 3 other combinations. I can't wait to see how all of these cards interact in different new ways. And even with the same combinations, I'm enjoying this one. I'm ready to get it back to the table. If this sounds like something you might be interested in, if you are a fan of head-to-head card battler kind of games, if you are a fan of Red 7, if you're a fan of both of those things, absolutely check this out. I can't say much more than that. I'm enjoying this one. I think you might as well. Definitely have a look. I'll include the link to the campaign down below. Go ahead and check out the campaign yourself to see if this might be something you're interested in. I hope that this video was helpful. And as always, if you did enjoy this video, I do ask that you like, subscribe, and click the bell icon below. And I'll see you all next time. Thanks.